Recently, a video went viral showing a man throwing cake onto the Mona Lisa. Disguised as an elderly woman in order to get closer to the famous painting, the man shouted in French as he was being taken away by security, "Think of the earth. All artists, think of the earth. That's why I did it." But what's even crazier is that this is not actually the first time the Mona Lisa has been the subject of vandalization. In this video, we're going to be taking a brief look at the history of the Mona Lisa to see what makes it so special, specifically how other artists have reacted to it during its long reign as one of the most famous works of art in history. Before we begin, feel free to subscribe for more upcoming art history content. Let's get started. While some facts about the Mona Lisa's origin are well known, such as the creator, Leonardo da Vinci, other aspects about the painting remain shrouded in mystery. The exact date of its creation, for example, is still up for debate. The Louvre officially states that the portrait was doubtless painted in Florence between 1503 and 1506. However, some historians believe that da Vinci was still working on it by 1513, or even as late as 1517, when da Vinci began to suffer from paralysis in his right hand, possibly due to a stroke, which would explain why the Mona Lisa remains unfinished. Additionally, the subject of the painting remains a mystery, as a consensus has not yet been reached. The most likely candidate is Lisa del Giocondo, the wife of Francesco del Giocondo, whom the painting was originally created for. The strength of this leading theory stems from several historical sources, including a note written in the margins of a book dated in 1503 by one of da Vinci's contemporaries, which made reference to his working on a painting of Lisa del Giocondo at the time. A competing theory posits that the painting could be of Isabella d'Este, the Margravine of Mantua, and a prestigious patron of the arts during the time of the painting's creation. The support for this theory comes from several drawings of Isabella by da Vinci, as well as letters documenting Isabella's desire for da Vinci to make good on his apparent promise to someday create a proper portrait of her. Other possibilities as to the subject of the painting include Isabella of Aragon, Cecilia Gallerani, Caterina Sforza, and even Leonardo himself. Regardless of who the real Mona Lisa may have been, the Mona Lisa portrait has lasted through the centuries and has become synonymous with the Renaissance period as a quintessential Italian masterpiece. Early in its history, however, the portrait would not have been very well known to the average person, and was considered to be simply one among many great works of art from the Renaissance period. During this time, it remained sequestered away in places only the rich and important would have had access to. After falling into the possession of the French monarchy and hanging in the Palace of Versailles for a little while, the Mona Lisa came to the Louvre after the French Revolution, where it has remained ever since, aside from some brief hiatuses, including a brief stint on the wall of Napoleon's bedroom, and a few instances where it was relocated for safety reasons, such as during the Franco-Prussian War in 1870 and World War II in 1939. But the Mona Lisa gained much greater popularity in 1911, when the painting was stolen from the Louvre. As you can imagine, this caused quite a scandal. Newspapers around the globe spread the story. Several people were arrested and investigated as suspects, including a young Pablo Picasso, who was 29 and living in Paris at the time. It was eventually discovered that Vincenzo Peruggia, an employee at the Louvre, was the real thief. Having been born in Italy, Vincenzo believed that the painting should be rightfully returned to his home country. The masterpiece was in his possession for a whole 2 years before he was finally caught while trying to sell it to the director of the Uffizi Gallery in Florence. In 1956, it was the target of multiple attacks. First, someone threw acid at the painting, which did manage to cause slight damage. And then in December of that year, a man threw a rock at the painting. The stone broke the glass shielding the painting and caused a bit of the pigment near the left elbow to come off. The only reason the painting was shielded by glass in the first place was because a few years before those attacks happened, another visitor had tried cutting the painting out of its frame with a razor blade, claiming he was in love with Mona Lisa. Following these incidents, the Mona Lisa was encased in stronger, bulletproof glass in order to protect it from any future vandalization attempts. And it's a good thing they did that too, because a little under 20 years later, in 1974, while the painting was being shown in the Tokyo National Museum, a woman sprayed red paint on it in an apparent protest against the museum's failure to provide access for disabled people. The stunt earned the woman a fine of 3,000 yen, which would only be about $45 today, but the museum actually listened and implemented a scheduled day for people with disabilities to view the painting. Then, in 2009, a Russian woman who had recently been denied French citizenship got so upset that she purchased a teacup at the Louvre gift shop and subsequently threw the teacup at the Mona Lisa, causing it to shatter against the protective glass. The painting was unharmed. And yet again, in 2022, the Mona Lisa has found itself the target of a disgruntled museum visitor. This time, an environmental activist who threw a cake at the painting and tossed roses into the crowd, shouting, "Think of the earth. Artists, think of the earth." Once again, the glass protected the Mona Lisa, and the man was arrested. In addition to the Mona Lisa's infamous position as the frequent center of the public's attention, other artists throughout history have taken note of it and often used the painting to inspire their own works of art. In fact, before it was even finished, Leonardo da Vinci's contemporary, Raphael, was influenced by the Mona Lisa in his creation of Young Woman with Unicorn and Portrait of Madalena, and later on in La Valletta and Portrait of Baldassare Castiglione. In 1883, a slightly humorous take on Mona Lisa was unveiled when Eugene Battial, aka Sapik, painted an image of Mona Lisa smoking a pipe. In 1911, the year the Mona Lisa was stolen, Jean Metzinger created what would come to be known as Cubism's Mona Lisa, titled Tea Time, aka Mona Lisa with a Spoon. Then, in 1919, Marcel Duchamp, one of the most influential modern artists, created LHOOQ, drawing a comical mustache onto a cheap replica of the famous work, typical of his Dadaist style. These modern Cubists and Dadaists would end up setting a trend of irreverence that's lasted through today. And throughout the years, we've seen Mona Lisa as a subject treated every which way, from Salvador Dali's self-portrait as Mona Lisa in 1954, to Andy Warhol's 30 Are Better Than One, which he was inspired to create after the painting's visit to the US, to mosaics made entirely of Rubik's Cubes and countless others, each a unique spin on the monumental masterpiece. In 2019, in honor of the 500th anniversary of Da Vinci's death, fashion designer icon Virgil Abloh and his brand Off-White collaborated with the Louvre to release a collection of Da Vinci-inspired clothing, including one on the Mona Lisa. Today, the Mona Lisa stands as one of the most instantly recognizable artworks worldwide, with countless reproductions and pop culture references having sprung up in the centuries since its creation. Such popular attention has also attracted many who seek to gain attention for themselves, and thus it is no surprise that it's been the center of so many publicity stunts. But throughout it all, the Mona Lisa has continued to smile at us in her ever-intriguing, ever-mysterious manner that keeps us guessing and keeps us wondering. Older than the rocks among which she sits, like the vampire, she has been dead many times and learned the secrets of the grave, and has been a diver in the deep seas and keeps their fallen day about her. Beneath the form expressed, one feels a thought that is vague, infinite, inexpressible. One is moved, troubled. Repressed desires, hopes that drive one to despair, stir painfully. Thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, be sure to subscribe so you can be the first to catch all the upcoming content for this brand new channel. Until next time, this has been Angel in the Marble.